Hey everybody, my name is Kimberly and I am so glad that you are here. You push play because you must be heading to Excellence Coral Playa Mujeres. Now, if you haven't seen the other video I've made on coral, make sure to check that out. That's going to give you all the logistics and tell you all about the amazing food and the beach and the pools and all the stuff. So definitely take a look at that one. Now, in that video, I promised that I would get back to you with a few more tips and tricks about the room, and that's why I'm here today. And then, of course, I thought of a couple other things that I wanted to share with you, and I'll tack those on to the end of the video. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the Excellence Collection's current choose a room option. Now, if you book directly with the resort, you are able to choose a room when you book. This seems really cool. It seems really definitive when you're doing it. And the email that you get like right after makes it seem like you got it, you got your room. But what I want to do is just to tamper any expectations. It really, at this point, September 2025, is not that different than just sending that room request a few weeks before your stay when you would email the resort. And it seems to be effective about the same amount of times. So I feel like from my observations, maybe 25% of the people are getting their room request. So just even though it does seem very definitive, just set your expectations straight. Now, some people are getting an email a few days before their trip saying that they are not going to get their request, while others are not. We did not, and we still did not get our room. Now, I was expecting not to get it, so I was not upset at all. And in fact, we actually liked our room location better than what we requested. And from going to all-inclusive resorts for many, many years now, I will tell you that that's often the case. Just about every room location has its pro. So try not to get yourself too set on a specific room because it may or may not happen. Now, I will be interested to see where the Excellence Collection is taking this. I did notice on the site that now it's saying $0, where that dollar sign, I don't remember it before, maybe I'm wrong. But I do think that that's the goal, that eventually they will charge you various amounts for different rooms based on their location. We'll have to see how it plays out. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. What do you think? Would you pay more to be guaranteed a room location? What are your thoughts? I'm curious. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. All right. So let's go ahead and actually get into the room. Now, the bathroom is where I have the most to say, so I'm going to start there. Now, one thing I see a lot of people ask is, are the toiletries good? I know that's subjective. My answer is no. Now, you probably can figure out from my personality, if you've watched any of my other videos, that I'm kind of picky. And you would be correct. I find that the toiletries just are okay. They're fine in a pinch. So if you're picky at all, or you have hair that's a little cranky, you're really going to want to make sure that you have your products that work very well for you. I also find that the water can be a bit drying when I'm at resort. So that's another reason to have some high quality products. The shower gel is fine for washing your hands, at the sink. But if you're trying to get all of that sunscreen off, you're probably going to want something that will be a little stronger. And then same with the lotion. It's fine, but it's not really going to hydrate you after a full day in the sun. So for toiletries, I say they're fine if you're not picky. They're fine in a pinch. But overall, I would recommend taking your own. All right, let's talk about the lighting in the bathroom. It's not good. It's not good. There are so many shadows that form, and putting on your makeup is impossible. You really cannot see what you are doing. Now, I didn't have any issues for doing my hair. I thought that was fine. But for putting on makeup, I had to find another solution. And I felt the closet was amazing. The closet lighting was great, and there's shelving right beside the mirror, so I could lay my makeup out. It could stay there all week. Thought that worked well. Now, some rooms will have a vanity with a makeup mirror, and you may not face this issue at all. Our room, which was a swim up with private pool, did not have a vanity. However, the makeup mirror in the bathroom, you could remove and take somewhere else in the room. And I still just didn't feel like I was getting good lighting in our room anywhere. Now, I did have my makeup mirror with me that has a light, but it broke in travel this time, so that was no help. But honestly, the closet was great. Like, I highly recommend just do your makeup in the closet. It worked out well. And again, the shelving was there to leave all of your makeup out. One design flaw for sure is that there's no hooks. Like, there's two for your bath towels. And then, like, that's it. There's nothing for your face cloths. There's nothing for hand towels, nothing you could use for your bathing suits or anything like that. And I had heard that complaint. So I did go prepared with some suction cup hooks that I got from Amazon. They worked amazingly well. I will link those down in the description for you if you want to pick some of those up. And those were really good quality. Like, my husband was able to even hang his toiletry bag off of one of them. It stayed, it was fine. We could use them for hanging bathing suits to dry, for the hand towels, for the washcloth. So I definitely recommend taking those. And in fact, I'll probably throw a couple of those in my bag for all of my future resort travels, just to have some more options to hang things. So definitely grab a set of those. I see a lot of complaints about storage in the bathroom, and they're not wrong. There's not a lot of it. However, you can be strategic, I think, and make it work. First of all, those toiletries that I already talked about that I didn't think were all that great and I wanted to use my own anyway, I just put those underneath the sink and actually moved everything to one side that we weren't going to use. Like, I'm not using the scale. I'm not going to use their hair dryer, which actually I did check out so that I could report back. The hair dryer did work really well. But anything that I wasn't going to need, I just got out of the way. And you could even actually take those out of the bathroom, maybe put them in the shelving underneath the TV or in one of the bedside tables. And that would give you a lot more room underneath the sink for all of the things that you want to have close by. Now, I did use our nightside tables for things like pharmacy pouch, vitamins, extra sunscreen, aloe, the stuff that we didn't need to have access to all of the time. And so make sure you utilize that as well. And then things like your tumblers, maybe your liquid IV, stuff like that, you could keep in the cabinets with the Nespresso or the liquor bottles, just to keep those out of the way. Overall, there is a ton of storage in this room. I talked in the main video about the closet and how much storage was in there as well. And I don't think you're going to have trouble finding a place for all of your stuff, but you do have to be a little strategic when it comes to the bathroom. And there's space in there. I really do wish they had some shelving or some hooks or something to give you a little more room. But again, you can work around it easily, and there'll be a place for everything. All right, I'm going to mention the plugs, though. I do think they may have actually resolved this issue. So within the first few months that the resort was open, I would see this complaint constantly that plugs would not stay in. Even during our stay, I was seeing some complaints of that. Now, we weren't having any issue at all. And honestly, I've seen complaints of that drop off. But I do want to mention it just in case you want to take something with you to be prepared. Now, I buy electrical tape for my work and I use it all the time. And I had a little end roll. So I threw that in our bag thinking, if we needed to, I could use that to help keep the plugs in. Now, we didn't need it for that, but I was really glad that I had it, because now I'm going to talk about sensors in the room. The room does have motion activated lights in the closet, in the bathroom, the shower, the toilet room. And overall, this did not bother us at all. We actually liked it. But the one in the toilet room is the surface of the sun. It is so bright compared to anything else. Now, as you know, the bathrooms are completely enclosed, which is great for getting up to use the restroom in the middle of the night. And the light that comes on when you go into the bathroom is subdued. We've already talked about that. You can't put your makeup on. It's kind of dark. So that wasn't the problem. But again, the toilet room, so bright. So bright. So I was so glad we had that electrical tape, because we could just put a piece over the sensor. And if we wanted that light to come on, there were still switches beside the door that we could use. It just wouldn't come on automatically. And I think if you have something like that, or painter's tape, or something that is not going to cause damage when you remove it, it's definitely worth taking. And you could do that with any of the sensors that bothered you. But again, for us, it was just the toilet room. Now, I have heard that you can call concierge to have all of the sensors turned off so that you don't have to deal with it at all. We didn't try it. I'm not 100% on that, but I have seen a couple of people mention doing so. However, I think they're kind of useful in a lot of ways. And the one that I thought was actually most useful was the one beside the bed that would blink when the patio door was open. Now, you guys know you cannot leave your patio door open. Your air conditioner will completely turn off. Your room will be musty and gross in a very short time. So you have to make sure that your patio door is latched tight. Now, I loved this because at least the way our room was situated, and I don't know how this would work on rooftop terraces or other rooms. If you know, please let us know in the comments. But when I would go out in the patio, I could see straight to that blinking light. So I could ensure that I had it latched tightly and watch for that light to turn off. So I thought that sensor was very worthwhile. One more thing that you may want to take with you are some personal floats if your room has a private pool. Now, you will not be able to use your own personal floats in the EC pools or the main pools. They have floats provided, so you do not need to have your own. But if you have a private pool, you may want a float. And I highly recommend the hammock style float. So we have been using these. I've ordered the same ones on a few occasions, and I will link those down in the description as well. And I really like a hammock float. Like, you can put your head on one end, your feet on the other, and lay completely out, or you can just lean over it if you're reading your book. They're really great, and they pack so easily because they come in basically a flat like rectangle. They're easy to inflate once you're there. They work great. So if you have a private pool, I highly recommend taking a float. Last thing I want to mention about the rooms is there are no ceiling fans. There are no fans. And the room was very comfortable. It was cool. It was a great temperature. We slept well. But I know that a fan is really important to a lot of people. And so if you must have a fan, you will probably want to bring your own. And I know there are a lot of packable ones out there. I haven't investigated it myself. It's not something that we need, but I do see people on fan pages and stuff talk about bringing their own fans. So it's something that I wanted to mention because if that is a non-negotiable for you and you absolutely need a fan to sleep, you're not going to have a ceiling fan at this resort. All right, I think I hit everything about the room, but I did want to mention just a couple other things before I let you go today. I did want to talk about the umbrellas at the pools. They seem to be very thin. I have never felt the sun so intensely when I was under an umbrella ever. It was really kind of insane. Like, I would even have to put my visor on to read because I felt like the sun was in my eyes, even though it was like behind me, and I was fully in the shade. They just didn't seem to give the same level of sun protection that I have experienced at other resorts. And in fact, we use sunscreen like crazy people. We reapply all the time, but I came back so much more tan than I ever do from trips. And I really think that had a lot to do with it. So I just wanted to mention this so that you will be very careful with reapplying your sunscreen. And also, if you're someone with sun sensitivities, that you take the appropriate clothing or precautions to ensure that you're comfortable during your stay. Now, there are still palapas on the beach, so you can be under there and have more sun protection, I think, than you're going to have at the loungers at the pool. All right, one last thing I wanted to talk about were the group cabanas. I have this great footage and it just never made its way into my other videos. So I thought, why not share it with you now? I think these are so cool. And if I was traveling with a group of friends, this would be an absolute must. Now, again, it's September 2025. And right now it is, I believe, a minimum of 4 people and $400 to reserve this. I kind of expect that to change. It was 9 people and $900. It switched to go lower. I don't think that they were getting booked with lower occupancy. I don't think that they were, getting the same number of groups and things like that. So they lowered it. I have a feeling we're going to see it go back up. You get a bartender, you get a chef, you have all of this room. It's so cool. And so we'll see what happens. I haven't seen many people share experiences here. There was one couple who did rent it for the day and they were able to do that, paying the full $400, but there's not a lot to go on. So if you happen to be watching this and you got to do the group cabana, please tell us all about it. I really want more details on this. Now, these are located toward the back of the property near the non-EC room blocks and near the Revive bar. So you're not going to have an ocean view. It's going to feel a little more secluded from the rest of the resort, but I thought they were amazing. I would absolutely love to spend the day there with friends. So I wanted to show you guys this and get your thoughts on it. And hopefully someone will be able to share their experience with us because I really want to know more. All right, that's it. That's everything extra that I wanted to tell you for now. However, if you do have questions about coral, please leave them down in the comments. Hopefully I would be able to answer it for you, or maybe someone else could. Let me know if you go and if you love it as much as we did. Now, as far as what's next for us, it's actually going to be Haven Riviera Cancun in the spring. So at the end of my last coral video, I thought it was going to be next summer before we headed back to Mexico. So I'm really excited to share with you that we are popping in an extra trip and we're going to have their Serenity Club oceanfront swim up room. And I am so excited for that room and for those beautiful sunrises. So we'll definitely share our experience with you as well. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it so much, and safe travels.